We thank the Lord for gathering us as one family, as one community of faith. We thank the Lord for the gift of the Blessed Mother. She can gather all of us coming from different parts of the country. We all love our Mother, Mary. And I'm happy that years ago, when I was still a student here on campus, I was part of the group that started to brainstorm on the possibility of having a Filipino chapel dedicated to a title of Our Lady dear to Filipinos. And now we're marking the 17th anniversary of the foundation of that chapel, dedicated to Our Lady, under her title, Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage. 17 years ago. Wow. I'm sure many of you were not born yet. 17 years ago. We thank Monsignor Rossi for giving us a beautiful introduction into the meaning and the spirituality of a pilgrimage. And I want to emphasize that a pilgrimage has two components. The most obvious is the physical movement from one place to a sacred site. You did that. You came from different parts of the United States. You traveled. You experienced that physical movement that is involved in every pilgrimage. But as that is happening, I hope that the interior pilgrimage also occurs. There is a journey within that must happen whenever we visit holy sites. We are not here as tourists. As pilgrims, there must be a change of mind and heart, a conversion experience, because we have encountered God or a holy person. And the readings chosen for today give us wonderful lessons about pilgrimages in the life of Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. The Gospel. And I would like to emphasize 3 points. First point, according to the Gospel account, every year, Mary and Joseph brought the child Jesus to Jerusalem on pilgrimage for the Passover celebration, the Passover festival, sacred to the Jews, recalling how God had been gracious to them, how God had heard their cries, how God had suffered with them, and how God had liberated them from slavery. And the figure of the Lamb, whose blood became the mark that this house is inhabited by Jewish people, by Israelites. And so the angel of death would pass over, saving this family. Every year, a pilgrimage was done by the Holy Family to be one with the suffering people Israel in hope, renewing their faith in a God who saves. And I would like to think that that yearly pilgrimage to Jerusalem observing the Passover festival led Jesus to a deep understanding of God, the saving God that the first reading talks about, that made Israel rejoice. I believe it was that yearly pilgrimage to Jerusalem at Passover that led Jesus to a deep realization of who he was. He was the Son of God. An awakening that came with an interior pilgrimage, listening to the Word of God, observing the rituals, all leading to a deep experience of God. Who is this Son of God that the prophets talk about? Who is this suffering servant that Isaiah talks about? In the prayer experience of Jesus, most especially during their family pilgrimage to Jerusalem, the human Jesus understood who his Father was. The Father that the second reading talks about, who sent his Son, born of a woman, in the fullness of time. And so on that particular pilgrimage, when he was 12 years old, Jesus stayed in the Father's house. For him, the pilgrimage meant staying where his Father is, doing the Father's business. This is what I'm talking about. It was not just a trip from Nazareth to Jerusalem. Something interior was happening, especially to the child. The pilgrimage to Jerusalem brought the child Jesus to a journey in faith and identity as the Son of God. This is the first point. Dear parents, where do you take your children? Where are your pilgrimage sites? Shopping mall? Restaurants? Sales, discounts. So many people go there for pilgrimage. The new cathedrals, the new sanctuaries. And please, take note. Don't think that it is just a physical change of place from your home to the shopping center. Something interior is happening. The mind, the heart are all affected. If Jesus, by frequenting Jerusalem, got to a clear realization that he was the Son of God, imagine what will happen to your children and grandchildren if you engage in a weekly pilgrimage to a shopping mall. What will happen to the mind and heart of that child? Sa Tagalog, sa Filipino, kung si Jesus sa pilgrimage sa Jerusalem, nakilala niya ang mukha ng Ama at nakilala niya ang kanyang mukha bilang anak ng Diyos. Kapag ang mga anak niyo, dinadala niyo lang sa pilgrimage sa mall, mukhang credit card ang anak niyo. Kaya tignan ninyo, kontrado na ang mga mukha. Kasi doon nyo dinadala. Okay, your laughter is a signal I can move to the second point. But I am serious. Where do we bring our young generation for pilgrimages? I think many of us who grew up in the Philippines would still remember that yearly pilgrimage to Antipolo, especially in the month of May. Of course, there is the suman, the kasoy, the mangoes, yes. But the yearly trip to Antipolo somehow made us long for peace and made us pray that our life's journey would be a peaceful journey until we reach the kingdom. Which leads me to the second point. The pilgrimage was over. Mary and Joseph went back home, not realizing that the child Jesus was left behind. Realizing that, they went back to Jerusalem. Another pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Not anymore for the Passover festival, but another pilgrimage for a purpose. They were looking for Jesus. Another important pilgrimage that all of us must undertake. A pilgrimage in search of Jesus. How often do we go on a pilgrimage to seek Jesus? What are we looking for? Who are we looking for? That will define the type of pilgrimage that our life will be or will become. Is Jesus the one that is paramount in our minds and our hearts? When we open the refrigerator and see that the milk carton is half empty, we go right away looking for milk. When we see our clothes getting smaller because of constant use and washing, we go to the shop looking for new clothes. That's fine, but do we look for Jesus? That was the second return of Joseph and Mary to Jerusalem. Probably they did not realize that this is a more important pilgrimage. For 3 days later, they found him. 21 years later, the same Jesus will be buried, will be lost. After 3 days, he will rise again. Mary of Magdala going to the tomb, searching for the Lord. What a pilgrimage. I would like to thank all of you for the manifestation of solidarity and communion with our brothers and sisters who suffered on account of the earthquake in Bohol last year course, Typhoon Yolanda that hit so many provinces. At least 6,000 lives lost. But the pain, the destruction, led people to a pilgrimage. The pilgrimage was encapsulated in the question, where is God? Where is God? Where is God in all this suffering? Where do we find Jesus? In the mass graves. Where is God? In villages that had been wiped out. It was a painful question, but it was a spiritual pilgrimage. People started looking for God in their lives. Let us not wait for disasters to hit us. Daily, we should engage on a pilgrimage looking for Jesus. You may be in your homes, in your workplaces. You may be on the streets, on the roads. Every moment can be a pilgrimage moment if you look for Jesus, the way Mary and Joseph did. Hinahanap ba natin si Jesus? O baka hindi natin napapansin na wala siya sa piling natin? Yan ang pinakamahalagang pilgrimage ng buhay. Balikan ang Jerusalem para hanapin si Jesus. Baka yung iba sa inyo hinahanap boyfriend, girlfriend. Hindi naman masama yan. Pero hanapin si Jesus. Pag hindi hinanap si Jesus, makasakit ng ulo ang iyong matagpuan. Tumawa na kayo, so my third and last one. Jesus, when found by Mary and Joseph, gave to his mother a surprising, enigmatic response to her question, "Why did you do this to your father and me?" The 12-year-old Jesus answered, "Why did you look for me? Don't you know I should be in my Father's house? Why did you look for me? My pilgrimage is over. I am at home here. I will stay where my Father is." But the story ended with the pilgrimage of Jesus. Realizing that Mary and Joseph were the ones designated by his Father, whose business, whose affair he should promote. That this man and this woman were designated by his Father, Jesus went home with them. Another pilgrimage for Jesus, going home to his parents' house. And under their guidance, he grew not only in age, but also in wisdom and in grace before God and human beings. Jesus went back to the home in Nazareth in order to prepare for that day when he will engage in a long pilgrimage of public ministry leading to Calvary, the tomb, and waking up one day in the presence of the Father. That's another pilgrimage that we all have to undertake. The pilgrimage of mission, preparing ourselves for mission. Mission is a never-ending pilgrimage that gives meaning to our lives and meaning to other people's lives. What is your mission in life? What does God want you to do? Are you spending time reflecting on this? And are you taking the necessary journey, pilgrimage, to prepare yourself for your mission? So a pilgrimage, after all, is not just a tour. It is not just a time of visiting another city, going to a holy place. A pilgrimage is really teaching the next generation to discover God in their lives. Secondly, looking for Jesus. And thirdly, preparing ourselves for mission, which is the most important pilgrimage that everyone must take on this earth. Life is a pilgrimage towards a goal. It is a pilgrimage of mission, hopefully done in obedience to the Father, and hopefully ending in the fulfillment of the Father's will. And for those of us who are not yet clear about mission and who feel lost, don't worry. The Blessed Mother, Saint Joseph, will look for you. This couple who brought Jesus a number of times to Jerusalem will find us and bring us to the Father. Let us pause and ponder, like Mary, what is the meaning of this pilgrimage? What is the meaning of my life? Am I looking for Jesus? Where is my life's pilgrimage leading me?